Josh and Frankie. What a couple of dumb shits. Hello, primates! You found Primus Tracks. Congratulations! There are so many places to find us. I'm not even going to list them right here. We've got a lot of business to get to today. First of all, I am Josh. He is on the 39th floor of Primus Tracks Towers, where none of the windows open. Frankie's muted. Frankie doesn't want to talk today.
Hey, Josh.
Oh, hey, Frankie! Frankie has found the unmute button. We also have the venerable executive producer of Primus Tracks, who has deigned to drop in tonight. It's Tim Soya.
No way.
It is. It's true. He's here.
Now he's in Dominican Republic still.
His heart is in the
Hanging on the
Dominican.
beach.
His
Have
body's
not
home.
Even filed my papers for the lawsuit against Tool yet. But for my just disdain that they played 4 songs repeat.
And they cut short the second set.
Can you imagine the gall?
I'm here. Whoa, what is going on tonight? Why are you guys calling me?
So we put up the Soya signal, and he responded because tonight we are speaking with one of the heaviest of the heavies. He actually reached out to us, Frankie, and we had to get him on the podcast, of course. He is known in many of your album liner notes as Extrakd, and he is a hell of a musician, quite a talented guy, has quite a long list of involvement in many, many projects that you may have heard, and if you haven't, you'll know him after we speak with him today. It's Steve Freeman. Welcome to Primus Tracks.
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
That's heaviest of the heavies.
That was the heaviest intro ever. Because I am the lightest of the lights, but thank you.
No, I've heard about you hitting the waves, dude.
I do that. That's one of my things where I try to play the heavy there once in a while.
Oh, you're automatically a heavy if you're doing that.
So you're the guy that beats up the boogie border dudes?
The regulators?
That's what you call them?
Yeah, the regulators. I'm not a regulator, but
funny.
I know those guys, and they're I make sure I keep them at arm's length, and I make sure I'm their friend, so I get waves.
There's like a whole hierarchy out there on the water?
Totally. Yeah, It's all Lord of the Flies, but it's not as much anymore. I was surfing a lot in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, and it was crazy. Took time off, came back to it, and it's way mellow now. It's whatever. It's just like everything got mellower,
So
no one's fighting anymore. It was the biggest, strongest, craziest guys ruled, and that's just how it worked back then, Now it's a little more spread out.
Do people just refer to you interchangeably as Steve and Extrakd, or do you have a preference?
Mostly Steve. The
Cool.
Extrakd thing came in the L Stu era in the 90s, and it was kind of like the DJ. I was hanging around the DJs a lot, and Disc started calling me that.
Oh, nice.
DJ Disc.
Oh, you earned that from Disc. That's pretty rad.
Yeah, Disc coined that one. It's a way of like producing.
Yes.
You take little tidbits of sound and extracts of stuff, and that's kind of what I started doing. But I think Disc, just being Disc, was reading the back of a cereal box and it said like da-da-da-da Extrakd. Yeah, that's you. I think that's what he did. I think it was the back of a cereal box.
That's awesome.
We'll have to ask him, see what he remembers.
Yeah, that's. I would love it if that was the legitimate origin, as he was just reading ingredients.
I'm pretty sure that is it. I'm pretty sure that is it.
He's just you're Red 40, you're Extrakd, you're riboflavin,
you're red dye number 5. You're
right.
Exactly.
Funny.
I love it.
That's pretty much what it was.
Oh, that's killer, man.
So
That's really cool to have you here. We're going to talk all kinds of projects that you've been involved with luminaries such as Brain, Mirv, Buckethead, Disc.
Awesome.
Lots of folks. First question, though, I don't know a lot about you, Steve. Are you from the Bay?
Yep, from the Bay, from Palo Alto. Born and raised here. Lived in Lived in Hawaii for a while. Lived in Marin County for a while. Now I'm back in Mountain View, like 20 minutes from where I grew up, basically. And that's where I met all these guys, was down here, because Mirv and Brain are from Cupertino. Tim's North Bay, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we all kind of circled
number 1.
Petaluma number one. Petaluma's the land of the heavies for sure, right? That story that we just talked
Yes,
about.
yes.
Um, when I met all these guys was like the early to mid 90s, I'd say.
Okay.
And that's when I was in a band with Mirv in 92 called Jam Republic, where it was like live jazz, hip hop improv.
Oh, wow.
And as we played every night, every week at the night break, and Mirv would sit in sometimes, not always, and we'd have MCs just sit in. Whoever wanted to rap would rap over it, and it was kind of like that alphabet soup scene. Tim would probably
Yeah.
remember.
Yep, of course.
Fellini's, all that stuff, and
Amazing stuff. Yeah.
and so Merv and I clicked first, and I met Brain right after that. I think he came to a show, and I hit him up for a lesson because I wanted to learn. I was originally a drummer,
Oh, really? Okay.
and I wanted to learn how to kick some beats for a project I have. I didn't really want to be a ripper. I just wanted to learn how to groove. And I was like, he could probably teach me that. And after like two lessons, we just kind of hit it off. And then he called and said, "Hey, we're pooling our gear together with House and I think Merv in the beginning." And he knew I had gear and was into recording. So we all pooled our gear into that studio over in Emeryville, which is still here to this day. House still has it. And
Wow.
that's where that
Really? That's
that's where
amazing.
that all started.
Oh,
We
wow.
went there. We went there during the trip to Oakland.
No way.
Yes,
Oh my gosh, that is so cool.
they still have a signed Frizzle Fry on the wall
That's
and
incredible.
a Skeeter on the roof.
Yes, that's the place.
Oh,
So
wow.
we started that studio
Oh, no way.
in 90 whatever, 3, 4. Um and I was there probably for a 8-year stint or something. And I did a lot of work with Brain.
Mhm.
He and I tried to do production. We were kind of a production team. Merv would pop in too, but he was doing his band, Merv band.
Yeah.
And Brain and I did a lot of stuff with Buckethead, and
Yeah.
we formed El Stew, and I produced DJ Disc's record and some Buckethead records, and then Brain joined Primus,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it got harder to do that, but we would always still work together anytime he was home. But it got harder and harder because then he'd go on the road for quite a while. But we always would connect and make music when he was around, and that stays until this day.
Wow. So that working
Yeah.
relationship and friendship sounds like it started quickly and just solidified real fast. And you guys are still doing it, still kicking it.
You mentioned some really interesting names, Steve, like Buckethead, but
Hmm.
I guess I'm most curious about what it's like working with Murph.
Merv's, it's incredible working with him because we have a good working relationship. Like for these records, they take a long time because we both have careers, jobs, families. It's not our main employ.
Right.
We have to shoot it over email, over text, or over Dropbox or whatever and share files. And he's really prompt to give me feedback. I like that. Double the chorus there. Drop that bass line sucks there. Whatever.
Mhm.
And when he can, he records timely. And he's great to work with. He's the greatest, you know.
Yeah.
Bucket, far more esoteric and in and out,
Yeah, sure.
you know. And also an incredible freaking talent. I mean,
Yeah.
psychotic talent, but harder to link up with him,
Yeah.
lately.
So
Yeah.
Soya says that Merv is the king, and having played with him for so long, what have you noticed about his lordship Merv as a guitar player?
His lordship?
Because we're gonna be touching on a bunch of projects, and it he's laying down guitar tracks on stuff like Gonerville, just
Yes.
being Merv, but then he's
Yeah.
channeling Zappa on Let's Be Frank with Mars Mechanics, and he's
Yeah.
doing,
Yeah.
and it just seems like the guy can play anything, and I know that's a product of practice, but it goes beyond that. So working with him,
Yeah.
I mean, what do you notice when he's ripping it?
It's really fun. I would agree. He can kind of play anything. I think it's good. Our relationship is cool because I'll sort of steer him in a way and say, "Hey, do an Eddie Hazel thing here. Do a Sonny Chirac thing here. Do a Miles thing here."
Yeah.
do a Frank thing here, and he can do all of them. Or can you make your guitar sound like a horn? There's a couple tracks on this last record where he kind of sounded like he was a horn because we didn't have
Oh,
Skerik at first.
Right.
And he can make his guitar sound like a harmonica, as you know. So he he can do kind of a lot of stuff. It's pretty crazy, you
wow.
know. So yeah, it's awesome work. I mean, we're talking about maybe doing a an all guitar solo Mirv record soon,
Ooh.
where he just goes crazy. Yeah, just
Dude, aside from Merv's bells and whistles that he does, his guitar playing is phenomenal. Like Steve Vai,
yes,
uh,
yes,
Yngwie Malmsteen, whatever. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not trying to name who he is, but
On steroids.
he is on the level where he just could shred those dudes apart.
yep,
And he does. And in our circle of friends of bands around the Bay Area, he barely touched on his talent of what he could do.
yeah.
And sometimes you get in those moments where you go, oh, you're Holy Mackerel Show or, Merv
Yeah,
or whatever. And all of a sudden he does something where we all go, up, there it is. That's why
yeah.
I say Merv is the king, dude. He is the king, and he hides it.
I
He's a
like that.
jerk like that.
Yeah. So we have this other band we're in together called Los Cinco Sparachos with Kehoe
Oh yeah.
and
Okay.
Louie.
Yeah.
And it's more just like playing live, just having fun band. It's more covers and stuff. But it's totally ripping because pretty much every single gig we do in that band, which Mars Mechanics hasn't even played live yet. So
Okay.
every time Merv will like hit the stratosphere on something, once a night, it'll be like, dude, you went all the way Trower, you went Hendrix there, you went whatever,
Yeah.
Zappa on that one. It is some point in the night where it's just like something takes over. So I
Yeah.
agree with you.
Only when he chooses to bring it out, it comes out.
Yeah,
That's what I've always known about Merv, watching him for 30 years.
Interesting. So
yeah,
so you guys having known him for so long, you still are listening for it or watching for it, and when it happens, you're watching him and like,
I think it surprises him
yeah.
when
Oh
those
wow.
moments happen. That's how I feel. Like,
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
yeah,
It's the
Uh,
genius at work, dude. They don't realize how genius they are because they're just going, I was just playing, dude. I don't know.
yeah, I was
And
just
we're like
playing. It's
going,
fun.
dude, do you realize what you just did? The
Yeah,
whole crowd like got killed and they had
melted.
died. They died. The whole crowd died.
Their faces all fell.
He's all,
yeah.
all I did was just play a E.
Yeah,
I was just playing. Yeah.
yeah, it kind of is like that. I'm just
I
playing.
I agree with Tim that Mirv is a phenomenal guitar player, but not only does he play the guitar really well, but he's also a really unique singer. When he steps up to the microphone and he sings, it also blows your mind. It's listen to
Yeah,
Precipitation with 50 Cal at Bonnaroo 2008. Things that Mirv is doing with his voice. I mean, nobody could do something remotely close to that.
Yeah.
oh yeah, the synthesizer voice, the deep one,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey,
technology
Man,
doctor,
Yep.
or
Unabomber.
Unabomber. We play Unabomber in the Los Cinco Sparachos.
Oh,
It's
no
so
way.
fun. Yeah, and
Well,
and
you
a side
guys
fact,
you guys have to know that Kehoe taught Merv how to do the Unabomber voice.
I was
Wow.
unaware of that.
no way.
That's
No, yeah,
Kehoe's
that's new.
got it. The guttural showed Merv, taught him how to do it in the van, and then now they both can do it.
That is so cool. I didn't know that.
I can't do it.
Unabomber.
No, I can't do it.
Talk about another genius, Mr.
Oh
Kehoe.
man.
Oh, well, just one funny thing. The
Yeah.
song Technology Doctor, where he sings that song a lot on the Merv record, I actually recorded the drums in that studio that you were at, Frankie. And around the corner was Larry Graham's band was rehearsing, and they let us borrow Larry Graham's bass pedals. And it was a whole like milk crate full of old school pedals from the 60s.
Oh wow.
And we plugged every pedal in that Larry had, the Octaver and this and that and everything he had, and we blew the drums through these monitors and got the sound on that on that track.
Oh, fascinating.
Very cool.
That's
So
how
was
you got
through
that
Larry
sound?
Graham's pedals. Yeah, Technology Doctor, check it out.
Holy
That's
crap.
amazing.
Yes.
That was like one or two things I helped record on that record.
Wow. Because that's a really
With the
unique drum sound
you
for
guys had
sure.
the 12 amp bandsaw in line with that, right?
Yeah, it was
So-
ridiculous.
Those are those little things that just make those songs even better. That is so cool.
That's right.
Amazing.
And Larry was aware of this? Did he hear the final product?
No, he was aware.
Okay.
He was totally cool, and I got to meet him and play his white bass, and he's one of my heroes for sure. He never heard it. I don't even think he knew that we put it through his pedals. He was the nicest guy in the history of nice people.
Yeah.
But we recorded quite a bit of stuff with that configuration because we were like, hey, we have Larry's pedals. Let's blow it through the PA. And I think we
nuts.
blew up the PA because the brain blew it up. And we used to do that all the time.
Oh, that's amazing, dude. I never knew this story, Steve. That's amazing.
So I got to get one good story for you tonight.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
Speaking of bass, you're quite an accomplished bass player yourself, Steve, and you've been playing
Thank you.
for years. So, we talked about playing with Mirv. What's your connection you have with Brain when you guys are jamming along? Because we've, of course, on this podcast, mined that territory of the Brain-less dynamic. What's your dynamic with Brain?
He's incredible. Yeah, as you guys know, he's incredible. I try to just sort of play groovy and simpler when I'm with those guys. Brain tends to play, well, each album's a little different, so he tends to play more in a groove vein too with me. He can just solo, go crazy, or go into Caluda mode if he wants, and then Mirv can too, and I'll just be kind of holding it down. Someone has to.
Yeah.
And I like that role of just kind of being a foundational groove player, more or less, not a solo player. But what's cool about playing with Brain, he always has like an edge or an angle or an approach. Like for this record, it was more, let's play like Al Foster or some of the Miles Davis drummers in the 70s. That was kind of the vibe. Don't know if you guys know who he is, but that's who Brain was thinking about or referencing.
Wow.
He played with Miles from like 69 to 74 or something, or 70 to 74.
Okay.
And then, the record before, Let's Be Frank, I think it was more like cut up, crazy playing.
Yeah.
The first one had some dub and some rock, and, we all love dub a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, all our musical styles, we connect on a lot of levels. Rock, funk, dub, craziness, avant-garde, whatever. There's just no real style that we don't like connect on, which makes it cool,
I think that speaks to that variety of these three Mars Mechanics records in particular, but also when you look at the entire picture, that you and Brain connect on a hip hop, dub, space rock, noise level, Zappa level, 70s Miles Davis fusion level. Because listening to the new one, you had kind of fed me that Miles Davis fusion line, so I was like, oh yeah, okay. So I was finding that, and then I was thinking, there were parts too where I was thinking, oh, this is kind of like when Return to Forever was doing some of that fusiony stuff too, So I was able to pick up on a little bit of that, but what depth and breadth you guys have together. That's really impressive.
And we got more in the hopper that you haven't heard. That's going to be like a surf dub record or a 50s country. Who knows what we'll do? We can do too many things, but that's what makes the Mars Mechanics fun for us, is that we're not repeating the same thing. Because we can do a bunch of sounds or styles or vibes. So we try to just do that because it's just art. But this one, definitely we were thinking, let's kind of do something along the lines of Electric Era Miles or Sunny Schrock, or it wasn't fusion per se. It's not really like a rehash of fusion, but there's influences you can hear for sure. Like, bent melodies and twisted heads and stuff like that. So it was a blast doing this one.
It certainly sounds fresh. Like it doesn't. You're right. It's not a rehash. It's your guys' interpretation, or through your filter, I suppose, which is unavoidable because you are who you are and you have your voice, right? So
right.
That's,
Yeah.
I think, what most surprised me putting it on, having heard the first Mars Mechanics record, which is pretty heavy on the dub and the spaciness and some hip hop, and then Let's Be Frank, which is
Yeah.
pretty much straight Zappa guitar, shut up and
Yeah.
play your guitar type stuff. I went, oh man, they're taking
Exactly.
us somewhere else. And it was, wow. You guys really hit it. And then
Yeah.
and you also had Skerik show up a lot on this latest record too. How was that?
That was an awesome, fortunate, cool thing that happened. And so I met him briefly at the show that was when Vinny played.
Master Jazz, sure.
Yes, a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I went and saw that show with House, Brain, and Mirv and had my jaw on the ground the whole time because of Vinny and Skerik, all of them. And met Skerik briefly.
Les's playing did not impress you. I got it.
I said all of them.
Talk on.
Wouldn't leave out the heavy. Come on. Of course he impressed me.
Talk on.
But Vinny was pretty special. I'm not even a drummer, and I was just like, God, that's just insane. That was incredible. But met Skerik backstage when I met Vinny and talking to all the guys, and then he's like, "What are you up to?" And Merv's like, "Well, we're kind of doing this kind of Miles Davis fusion era thing." And he just went, "Really? I love that stuff. If you need someone, let me know." And so Merv just leveraged his friendship and just said, "Hey, would you play on a couple?"
Yeah.
And we were actually supposed to have him down in, Brain has a recording studio in Southern California, which he's partnered with actually my brother who has a property down there. They've kind of created this recording studio together in the Palisades.
Is that right? Okay.
It didn't burn down. The fire went
yeah.
right up to the fence and burned part of it, but it's mercifully, was spared somehow.
Wow.
But we were going to have Skerik record all kind of with us there, and it would have been so cool, but it didn't work. So we just sent him the tracks when they were kind of done, and he just blew over them and just ripped. And then I would cut up chunks of all his playing and just kind of extract, do my thing, put them in places, and kind of made a bunch of playing go on like 4 or 5 songs. I would love to have him on all 12 or whatever, but
yeah.
He's such a genius. I mean, he brought the music to where it needed to go. That kind of music needs to have horns and brass, So.
Oh yeah, takes it to a different level. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
It really does. It really does. So we could cut them up and then play bass under them and double it, or it would be cooler next time to have him from the scratch and actually write stuff together, or have him and Mirv spar. That's kind of what I want to do.
Oh man.
Have a dogfight between those two dudes. I'll just play the foundation. You
just lay it down, let those guys go at it.
Just lay it down and let them.
So, are you guys with Mars Mechanics? You and Brain and Mirv, because you mentioned sending files. Are you guys in the same room at all?
In the beginning, yes. So, good question. So we go. This time we had Tim probably knows Rado. Rado, do you know Rado, the producer?
I do not. No.
Okay. Bay Area guy. So we went over to Oakland to, I think it was Vision Studios for a day, and just hired Rado to record. He's a great engineer and producer. And we literally just jammed for 2 hours or 3 hours or however long. Brain or Mirv had a cool idea on this record. They said, everybody go bring 2 pieces of art or 3 pieces of art from a thrift store or your grandma's house or any photo you want. We all showed up with all these weird photos. One was like a fisherman, one was a rat, one was like a chemistry explosion, one was a San Francisco art or whatever. And then we would pick a picture to play to. So like this song's going to be the fisherman.
Oh, wow.
And that's why each one has a different little universe sound, like the slow, weird, twisted blues one. It was just like we were looking at the old gray-haired dude and crusty fisherman guy. We're just staring at him. And each time we would pick a different vibe to get into.
It's a very Brian Eno approach to.
Is that an Eno approach? Okay. So maybe Brain or Mirv got it from Eno. I don't know who came up with that, but it worked really well.
Wow. Is that how Victim's Family does it, Soya?
No.
He's all artsy schmartsy. It was very, very cool. And Tim, I was going through some videos of that day,
Yep.
and there's one of Brain where he goes, I sent a photo to Soya and he said to tell you, Merv, El Elefanto Blanco or something. And they
El
all started
Blanco Elefanto.
inside joke clearly, but they were all cracking up for like an hour. And I'm like, I don't, this is about some gig they almost died or something.
What's that, Soya?
There's a story.
Is that for another day?
I mean, I could tell it right now, but I don't know if it pertains to
Okay.
the Steve Freeman heaviness going on right now.
Oh, but it was just funny because I was videoing the setup, and then there's Brain telling a story how he sent you a photo of that
Yeah.
place,
Yeah.
and you said to tell me about El Blanco Elefanto.
El Blanco Elefanto. Yeah. Shitty gig
Anyway.
in Spain that we all had to endure one night on the Brown Tour.
Oh, there you go.
And
Oh my God.
Mirv was so impressed with how shitty the gig was that Brain actually did the gig and got through it. And it's legend of how shitty the gig was. That anytime you say El Blanco Elefanto around Brain or Mirv, they're like, oh, dude.
Oh yeah. It had that reaction. They said like the walls were melting or it was really hot or something. Something weird.
It's the shittiest fucking bar gig ever
Oh,
in
man.
South Spain. East
Wow.
Coast Spain. It was terrible,
Right.
man. Awful.
That's awesome.
They got through it. They played the gig, man. Let's have
Amazing.
the afro. It was on, man.
Oh, the Afro era. Oh, I love it.
Jeez, I'm
Oh, yeah.
sweating.
I remember the Afro era.
Well, it sounds like when you guys get together, of course, you have a good time. You've all known each other for decades at this point, and just get on
Yeah.
easily, and it sounds like it flows.
It totally flows. And so I'll take the 2 hours and they entrust me to be the editor, producer, whatever. You know, the dude is chopping it up more or less and kind of creating the arrangements. And we've done it 3 times. We actually have done it 4 times. We did it one other time in between the last album and this one, and we were going for like a 1972 Sabbath sound. We wanted to just go just that vibe. Brain got the drums exactly like Bill Ward from whatever, and Mirv had his guitar sounding like Tony Iommi, and it was we have some really raw, crazy Sabbath vibe, but we had no singer, so we made all these songs, and we're like, where's Ozzy? When's he coming in? It's not that cool without a singer after a while. So that one's still in the vault. Maybe it'll turn into something at some point.
Oh,
But
dang.
that's kind of what we do every album. We pick a vibe. Maybe the next one will be Prince 84. Who knows?
Yeah. Is there a goal around this in the sense of like we're going to make one every year or two, or is it just when it feels right?
No. I mean, this one took 2 years, which is way too long.
Okay.
This one took super long. We could probably get it done in a month, really, but a lot of it was editing after work, 8 to 11 at night. What do you think? Shoot it back. And then, they're all in 2 or 3 other bands. Everybody's busy traveling, Brain's in LA a lot or wherever. And that's why it takes a long time. So there's no real goals, but we're definitely happy with it. We love doing it. And we love doing, projects. So I don't think it'll stop. I had a little dark period after the 90s where I just sort of focused on work and raising my kids and getting into a house and all that. And I kind of put music back a peg, surfing went back a peg, both my loves. And then I kind of came back into music pretty heavy, and surfing for that matter, last probably 6 years.
Okay. Dark period, you went dark, because it doesn't sound like
Probably
raising
Tim
kids
didn't
is a
see me for
horrible
like
thing.
10 years. It was just kind of like, I just said, I got to make more money. I got to focus on something else,
Okay.
So unfortunately, they had to take a back step for just a while, 10-year period. I still played, but like Brain had a studio in Venice, and I didn't even go there once, So
Well, it's great. It's great that you're back into it and seeing your name on some of these things because the name Extrakd to me was really mysterious back in the late '90s when I started picking up on these these projects, and it was all through Brain, right? Because it would be on the Primusville or Primus Sucks website. It would say Brain's got some L Stew cooking, and I'd click the link and go to the Ohm Records website, check that out.
That's
and then
right.
The stuff for Stray Records,
Yes.
and Gonerville and all that. So I'm just following these links, like, well, Brain's doing it, I might as well check it out. So
That's cool, man. That is awesome. You know all that stuff.
I was rabbit holing everything I could in the 90s, on my 56K modem, just trying to get it going, and just see what you guys were up to. But I kind of want to,
cool.
If you'll take us through some of these.
Yeah.
El Stew was probably the first one I picked up at that time in 99. Yeah. And I have to say, it actually coincided with a time in my life when I was a bit of a party boy on camp, on the college campus. So I'm doing engineering classes by day, and then when those let out, banging on El Stew and going to the clubs and stuff like that.
Sweet. Oh, so that's perfect.
It certainly was the part of the soundtrack for a little bit of time for me. And so what struck me about El Stew is it was, of course, I first heard it and went, well, this is nothing like Primus, and I guess it shouldn't be. But it kind of helped open me up to electronic music and cut up music and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. What are your recollections on that one? Because that one's quite a record.
So, yeah, good memory there. That one, Eddie Def, one of the DJs. There's two DJs, Disc and Eddie Def.
Right.
Eddie Def really kind of did a lot of the work on that one, as far as a lot of the Eddie Def and I guess. He and I kind of did a lot of the samples and the cutting and the arranging of the tunes, and then brought him in for Brain and Bucket to play on a little bit later, I think. I think we had them pretty well arranged. And then Disc came in at the end and scratched his parts on. And it was whenever Bucket and Brain were around. I think they might even have been touring a little bit at that time. They'd pop in and we'd record them in the Emeryville studio. And yeah, we did get a small record deal with Ohm. Mm-hmm. We did an EP, and we did a couple live shows, and it was a pretty ripping band, actually. I mean, that was one we should have kept going for sure. I remember we got an offer to play Prague, Bill Laswell hooked that up, and we didn't go. And there was just, we were too young and whatever. There was some stupidity going on. A couple members didn't get along or whatever. So that faded, but that was a productive era. I was producing Disc's record, Phonocyclograph Disc.
Yeah.
We did a live show. Actually, Tim, that was the one time I got to work with you.
Turbulence.
You remember it, Slim? Record. Yep. Phonocyclograph Disc. Yep. It was basically the El Stew band, but Les sat in, and you worked that night. And that was my only time I worked with you, and you were so awesome. You were, Steve, you want me to change your bass string? Steve, can I get you a beer? Can I get you a water? Like, Tim was rad,
Yeah. I remember that gig for sure.
Okay, you do.
Disc was the leader of the show, and nothing was arranged anywhere about anything.
Oh,
it was madness.
And he showed up and he was like, Soy, you got everything worked out, right? And I was like, dude, all I know is I'm supposed to show up and help. He's like, wait, what? And so we put it together and got everything on stage. You guys all showed up with gear in your cars. I remember that.
It was there was no sound check I don't think, and
it was awesome. It was so ridiculous.
Do you remember Disc had a vocoder?
Yes,
and it didn't work. One key worked for some reason. The whole keyboard broke. So he took a piece of tape. Maybe Tim, you did tape down one note.
Yeah.
So all night long he's singing da 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 one tone the whole night, which was hilarious because it's the only thing that worked.
Man, what a flashback! I do remember that night, dude. Was like chaos, dude. And we made it happen, and it was a bunch of people there, dude. It was packed.
It was totally packed, and it was rad. And we did an encore. We did Dazed and Confused, which no one had ever played. I have no idea who started it. Probably Brain. Yeah. And then some punk thing we did, like a hardcore thing. It was hilarious. Yeah. Ripping show.
It's a fun record.
So that was a big memory. And that was basically the El Stew band, plus Les. which was made it extra rad when he
Right.
came.
And that El Stew, you guys did a bunch of EPs because there's the record, which for some reason anymore on the databases it's just self-titled, but I swear it was called No Hesitation. I don't know if you can shed light
I think
on
so.
that.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was called that.
Okay.
Yep. And then there's an EP and there's a cassette we did. And
Okay.
I
So
don't know.
I
There's some
have
underground
one I
stuff.
think called The Rehearsal, but then there's also one called The Night of
That's
a
right.
Million Stains, which
Okay,
is a
so the
wonderful
rehearsal is the rehearsal is we were rehearsing for some gig,
Okay.
and we just recorded it with like a boom box, and everyone likes that record a lot for some reason. That was the one people like. It's more raw. It's kind of more rockin', less produced, and that last LSD record, no one did anything. That one just dissed it on his own or something. 10 years later, like no one was
Oh, really?
involved.
Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't.
Yeah.
That was just sort of like I don't know why that happened, but. At the same time, that same era, I was doing the No Force Field with
Yes.
Ler and Brain and Adam.
Yeah. Now,
And-
I definitely wanted to ask about No Force Field because that was seemed to be pure chaos.
That was pure chaos. That was literally like a party or multiple parties and then hit record. Oh, and it was always supposed to be kind of electronica or electronic-ish type music rather than rock at all. So we all just played whatever was in front of us, and it was definitely like a party. And Ler had to cut it all up, and Ler made those edits, and I don't know how the heck he did it.
Oh, really? That was him?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That was all him. He killed it on that. And yeah, those are some crazy records.
So, and I know you guys did a handful of shows as No Force
Yes.
Field, 3 or 4 that I
Yes.
know of.
Yep, a couple.
So, shoot, was there one at Bimbo's? Or maybe I'm thinking of the wrong club.
Somewhere in San Francisco.
I think
maybe.
Bottom of the Hill. was
Bottom of the Hill?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Bottom of the Hill was
That's the
one.
only one that I witnessed, and I actually ended up playing drums in the end.
You did perfect. That's perfect.
Because
Yeah, that was a chaotic.
I'm out.
Yeah, I think I think it got too heavy, and we never rehearsed or anything. It was because we just kind of did the same vibe we did in Ler's basement in his Kensington house. That's where these parties were.
Adam had a wall of keyboards, and what was the unit that you hit the button and it just did the scat.
Yeah, I think that was Adam's thing. Whatever
and
he's
like
using.
Brain just played along, and like
Right.
it was like, yeah.
I mean, the whole thing was wearing it out to a nub. That's what that music is.
Totally. Not quite a nibble yet. It was still a nub.
Just the nub.
Yeah. As Brain says, dude, it wasn't a nub. I was a nibble that rolled off the nub.
I just
It's
blew
like
off the
rolling-
table. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
the nibble.
the nibble.
There's our
Oh, I have a
ahead.
funny anecdote. I don't know if this is to be cut earlier in the show, but one funny thing about because Ler played a solo on one song on this record. Did you know that?
on Mars Mechanics. Yeah, you shared
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Okay, so I was at the studio in LA and Ler was hanging around, just came over. We had dinner or something. And Brain goes, "Hey, do you want to hear what we're doing?" And he played it. He goes, "Yeah, it's cool." And Brain's like, "Do you want to play?" And he's like, "Sure." So he just turned it on. Brain's like, "What track?" I go, "Okay, how about 9A?" We just picked one.
Yeah.
And it was really loud, and Ler just plugged in, and he yells over. He's just starting to solo. He goes, "What key is it in?" And I was like, God, I didn't really know. I had my bass, but I couldn't hear. I go, "It's in D." So he plays the solo in D, and then at the end I go, it ended, and I go, "Ler is actually in C sharp. You were a half step off the whole solo." And he goes, "Well, that's what makes it great. Leave it." So we left it.
Awesome.
Which you can do on that kind of record, right? It could be a half step off and still be great. And he still ripped no matter what key he was in.
That's
I
right.
always thought that was funny.
Ah, that's excellent. And that kind of speaks to the spirit of it too. It's pretty free.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah,
do
it's
whatever
very
you
free.
want. With the No Force Field, there's some vocabulary that I'm curious about from over the years, and maybe you can shed some light on it. Lom. What's
Wait.
the deal with Lam? Because that's recurred over the years.
I've heard it. I don't know. I think this is some Adam speak, yeah?
Probably.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what Lam is, to be honest.
Okay.
Gosh,
I
It's
think I
coming.
rings a
figured
bell.
out what it is. I think it was code word for Soy is in the room. It's baloney pants. He's here. Like it was. There he
Lam.
is, the dipshit. Get him out of here.
It's coming back to me slowly. God,
Oh
you threw me
man.
way off. Full curveball on this one.
Oh
Lam.
geez.
The only
I,
time I ever heard Lom was when I would come around Adam and Ler, and they go Lom, 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 Lom.
well, they had their own language, those two dudes.
I know. I think Lom was Soy is a douchebag. Get him out of here.
Oh
Really?
man.
Oh my God.
Pretty much. I
Salami.
think I figured it out.
Oh geez.
Well, we can say it's that. It probably wasn't that.
It's it's a good story.
It was short. We'll find out though. This is going to be good. We'll get it. We'll circle back on that one.
And
I
then
want to know.
yeah, for sure. Maybe he can reveal his secrets. The clam? Is that something specific?
I forgot about all this stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. That's so funny. The Clam. That was a crazy song, I think, The Clam. I think that was Disc talking about something like that.
Oh,
I
that's
probably
Disc
can't mention it.
on the vocals on that one?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's Disc going crazy on that one.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
The
the last
Clam
track
was
on the
Disc
record. Yeah.
losing his mind, and we all just said, "Go, go!" We kept egging him on. I'm not exactly sure to what body part he's referring to, but I think it was something along those lines. Yes, that's Disc.
Gotcha.
We love him. We love you, Disc.
Yeah.
I'm curious about when it was first promoted or tossed out there as a sample of the record. It was called Sporty Spice, and then was changed to Vanessa from the Man Show. And then Lur and somebody were on Loveline. I think it was Lur and I don't remember. They were on Loveline, and Vanessa from the Man Show was on with them.
Yes, this is true. They
Hello.
did do that.
It was Lur and Arch Barker.
Learn.
So
Brain
this
might
one-
have been there on that one, Josh.
Okay. Lur and
Maybe.
Arch did most of the talking, I remember.
Okay, that makes sense. I remember when they were doing it, we were all in LA together, and he said he was going on that, and I'm like, well, that's pretty heavy. And he promoted it like it was a big release. And Adam's talking about it. So, what is No Force? It's
Oh
great.
yeah, they were being quizzed on it, and they're like, "We're just dudes that goof around," you know.
I loved Arj. I haven't
Yes.
talked to him in years.
Arch Barker's awesome.
Still awesome? Yeah, I bet he is. I'm sure he is. That's a good crew, like Ruben and Arj and
Yeah,
Adam.
I just saw Ruben yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
Still rips.
I was at his house.
But the language was a lot of Adam's humor.
okay. I would
genius.
imagine so. 'Cause
Another genius.
very much so, yeah. And it's catchy. It's catchy stuff like Lom and whatever, all this goofy stuff. So
you're throwing me with Lom. I got to remember that one.
Do you
Jeez.
know was Sporty Spice changed for any particular reason?
No, I just think that Vanessa was wearing, it was at the time when the Man Show was happening, and I
Sure.
think someone thought was into her at the time. Like, I think Sporty Spice was the working title, and then it just flicked over at the last minute.
Okay.
It had the John Rocker redemption clause. I remember that.
Great tune. Love that. That one's wild. I love that. Like, that's one I would play for me to get psyched up,
Yeah.
before going out on the town, and everybody else was annoyed. So it was doubly good.
They throw rocks at you. Yeah, that one's
I'm
pretty
like-
aggressive, as I remember.
It
Crazy.
is. There's just some really great grooves on there with like Squid in the Shirt is a memorable one. That's got a great sound to it.
Disc.
And then
That's
and then
Disc.
were you involved in the second one?
I was. Is that God is a Coward?
God is an Excuse, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I knew something like that. Yes, I was involved in that too.
Okay. That one's that one's interesting in its own right.
Yeah. That one's a little crazier, I think.
Yes. I think when Frankie and I talked about it originally on the pod, I thought it just seems like they did this on a dare.
Right, exactly. Like, how far can you go and how crazy can you get? And,
Yeah.
the party was wearing thin, I think, at that point.
Okay. Yeah, and you had mentioned Arj and Zoltron, and
Oh, that's right. They had some good stuff on there, right?
so yeah, Zoltron told me the story that he and Arj just pressed record and started goofing around on this with this Money Savers thing. And
Oh yeah.
and they just kept going with it. And Zoltron said, "Oh yeah, I played it for Larry," and he took the tape from me and said, "It's going on the record." And that was that.
That's right. Was that the Sanchez brothers?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that was the greatest thing ever. I forgot about that. Money saved. I got to re-listen to this. This is just bringing me back, I have to tell you. But yeah, no, I remember they just put it on the record
Yeah.
because that was the vibe. I mean, I guess that's the vibe for almost everything that we do. Just say if it's funny or we like it, just put it on.
Yeah.
Who cares? You know?
Makes me laugh. Put it in.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm curious with that attitude, which ultimately I think is a rewarding attitude because you can take as many risks as you want. I mean, when you were making these records, was there any expectation from record label people at all that it would do something, or did you have free reign?
The only one was the Ohm, and we also did a little deal with Dog Day Records. What did we do with Dog Day? Anyway, we did something with them, another little indie label. No expectations. You know, we learned a lot from Bill Laswell through Brain when they did Praxis, and then Brain was close with Bill and Bucket, and I got to know Bill at that time too, and I used to give him tracks once in a while to put on his compilations. They're like hip hop kind of beats or dub hop or whatever. And anytime I talked to him on the phone, he'd just say, "Do whatever you want." I'm like, "Well, what's the parameters? What do you want? What's the vibe? Doesn't matter. Do what you want. Just you could hit on 2 garbage cans, bang, 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 and send it to me, and I'm going to put it out." So it was absolute freedom, pure freedom. And I always and then his stuff was just the heaviest stuff ever. You know, to me, one of the greatest producers ever. So I like that ethos. You can go too far and just no one will like it at all. But I'd rather go too far than not far enough.
Yeah. I was
like
curious
the
about
Limbo
that.
Maniacs record. Whoa, wait, what?
That's right. That's right. I mean, that you got Bootsy on there and Maceo and stuff.
That's right, yeah.
And Bill took it too far, and then it was not the Limbos by the time we finally got to hear the
Totally
Limbos
different,
record.
right?
I was
Oh,
so
right, yeah.
disappointed in that record. I hated that, man.
But see, I didn't know really them before too. I'm a little on the late train, so I didn't know they're like, wasn't it like punk Afrobeat or whatever in the beginning, or like hyped up crazy music. So I didn't really know what they sounded like before the Bill record.
Yeah, well, I'm just going on what you said, that Bill could take it too far, and then you lose sight of what really is needed to be
Oh yeah,
exposed, you know.
for sure.
Gotcha. And
his ethos is what I like. I guess that how they were kind of a band and a production team. Like Material
Totally.
is exactly like what we're doing. You know,
I mean, I'm not dissing Bill Laswell. I'm just saying,
right? Of
I
course.
understand the genius just like you do, but there's moments where it's like, dude, wait, you're taking a band in the wrong direction, dude.
Yes, that can happen, and that does happen. No doubt about it.
So you mentioned that absolute freedom, and I'm curious about that in the sense that it could be terrifying to have absolute freedom in the sense that parameters and guidelines are useful from time to time. And like, I feel like I work better within a structure because I can work to the structure. I can subvert the structure, which is my favorite thing. And just play with that, right? Playing with the structure.
Yeah.
So for you is just having carte blanche inspiring?
I think so. I think it does get a little bit of a frame at some point. Like this one, we said, hey, it's going to be kind of Miles Fusion era, whatever. And that was the frame. You know, when we did the Sabbath metal rock one that no one's ever heard, that was the frame on that one. So we do the parameters, like you said, because you can lose your marbles if you go all the way. This song's going to be this, and the next one's going to be that, and they're completely. Now, if we do the Mirv solo record, it has to be completely on Mars, like all the way out. You know, loud guitars in a studio, 5 different, you know, whatever we do has to go from the mind of Mirv, man. I'm excited for that one. Yeah. I mean, we're just talking about it. I don't know if it'll happen, but
Steve, I gotta ask you, did you work on any of the Devil Dub stuff?
No, I was there during the whole time.
Oh wow.
That was Houses and Dr. Ware. Do you remember Eric
Eric
Ware?
Ware,
Of
yeah.
course. Yep. I did
Yep.
the only show they played live at the Kennel.
Oh no way.
With scientists did the
Uh,
mixing on that.
Amazing. So they did a dub record and they got to work with the scientist. Yeah. I mean,
That
that
was
was the
crazy.
greatest thing ever.
It was
Yeah.
You know,
crazy night that night. I gotta
yeah,
say.
crazy night. Wasn't there? Yeah, wasn't scientists freaking out over something like, I don't
No,
remember
there
what.
was a buzz.
Yes.
He had to go around the whole club and unplug the ice machine. Listen to the mix. Or listen to there's a buzz. Okay, plug the ice machine back in. Go over and unplug the soda machine in the bar. Unplugged it. And he was just like trying to find the buzz in the building. Like,
And he found it, right?
I don't know. I don't remember, dude. We're just like, dude, we want to go get a burrito at Rico's up the street and like get back and do the show. He's like, I hear a buzz. No, no, no. Walk with
Yes.
me. Everybody, find the buzz. We're unplugging everything in the goddamn club.
I
And the
heard
buzz
that
happened.
Buzz story from everybody. They said he went
It was so
around.
funny. I was right there with scientists walking around unplugging shit, dude. It was so funny.
I think he located the Buzz because that's
Maybe
a
he did.
pretty. I've heard the show. It's pretty rad. It's great.
Yeah. I never heard the recording of it. Was it good?
It's good. Yeah. Everybody ripped. I think Brain was playing the Simmons, right?
Yeah, we had a bunch of electronic drums and Bucket was playing whatever.
Whatever. I think Brain had a real Simmons with the XLR outputs for each
Yeah.
pad, right? Those are the
Yeah,
real
we had
deal.
the octagon pads or those weird
And the
pads.
octapads, yep.
And
We did get the
Where
Simmons.
had the keyboard set up stage right. It was hilarious.
He was killing it. We got the Simmons sound on one song on this record, that one called Gonzography.
Okay.
And I don't know if you heard that one, Josh or
No.
Tim or Frankie, but we're trying to go for like a Jamaluddin Takuma or a Ornette Coleman vibe. From the 80s when they're playing the Simmons all the time, Donardo Coleman, who Brain knew or something through Bill and always loved that sound. We were all fans of Jamaluddin and Donardo. So that was Brain's genius idea to play that style. And then Mirv played a second bass. So there's two basses. He and I are kind of dueling.
Nice.
He's sort of on the piccolo bass and Brain's playing like a Donardo Coleman, which Tim, it's like when the beat goes on, it goes slightly off, and it goes on slightly off. That's the way they play that style. It's harmonic drumming or whatever. It's weird.
Whoa.
Yeah, okay.
It's just going over my head, everything you're saying.
That's wild.
Okay, sorry. But anyway, that's how they try to play that way, Josh. It goes on and off beat slightly. It's a thing. It's not like, oh, the drummer sucks.
No, it's by design. Yeah, and it's
Yeah, it's by design.
it's probably jarring or disconcerting.
It totally makes you feel weird.
Yeah.
So check that track out and see if you can hear it go a little bit.
Would love, yeah, I would love to experience that. If you can't tell, I like the off kilter stuff.
Yeah, that's why you guys are rad.
There was, I wanted to ask you too about Gonerville, because that seemed to spawn No Force Field to a degree, because there's a track on the Gonerville release called No Force Field that was then repurposed for the first No Force Field record.
Totally spawned it. That was another project that was Eddie Def, Brain and me, and then we brought Mirv in on a couple tracks.
Right.
And then we did another one where we tried to do, well, so Brandon, this is when Brandon and I were kind of working together and Mirv was more doing Mirv, the band, kind of gone. We did another one, Freak Brothers, where we tried to do a rap record.
Yes,
Well,
I've
we
been
did
looking
do a
for
rap
that
record.
for years, and I can't find a copy.
I might have one in the garage. I might have an extra one that can send to you, but
Oh, dang, that'd be
they're
awesome.
probably hard to find.
They are.
So we knew a couple rappers and we actually did a rap record in a kind of East Coast 90s hip hop sort of sound of the era, Wu-Tang and all that stuff, but with live playing, a lot of live playing. And we didn't know what we were doing at all, but that was a good time. So that was the two Goner. So Gonerville was kind of what we were going for, kind of a production team, kind of like what it's kind of evolved into Mars Mechanics, I
Okay.
guess. Yes. All these things afford we all kind of play with different configurations, but it's all sort of settled into this Mars mechanics, I would say.
Oh, okay. And then
Yeah.
were you part of the administrative side of the Gonerville, because there was a bunch of things that were announced that never came to fruition, and like they have the most ridiculous names, you know. So like
Probably like what? Do you remember a name or an announcement?
yeah. First one that comes to mind is would be an Adam one. The Filthy Eight presents DJ Win-Win's House of Irrefutable Chop Chop. I couldn't even say it right. It's so long.
That was Adam's break record.
Yeah.
I guess that never did come out. Yeah, he was DJ Win-Win for a while.
Yeah, that's so like that's another
Meaning
break one. Right?
both people win in a transaction. It's a win-win deal.
Wow.
DJ Win-Win.
It's the mind of Adam. I can't believe we didn't put that one out. I don't know where the heck that thing is. I know we worked on that. That is funny. I had forgot about that. So we were kind of getting into the DJ culture.
Yeah.
We made some break records. I made one called Pure Liquid Bass Extract. We made a Buckethead one called
KFC Skin Piles. Is that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Jisk and I did one called Marsupials something or other breaks. I'm sorry, I can't remember. That one actually sold well.
Yeah.
Remember that one? Marsupials belly flop breaks.
Okay. Yeah, that one's out there.
And that kind of got through. Some of the DJs liked the beat that we made on there a lot, and they played it a lot. So we were definitely dipping our toes in that water. I bought turntables. I got pretty good at scratching for a while, and then, can't do everything. So
yeah,
I still love it. I just never scratch anymore.
Okay. There's a couple other terms I'm going to throw at you. I have no idea if you know what they are. Tornado of urine.
Oh, you're killing me. That is Disc and Adam.
Yes.
I believe that's Disc and Adam, and I don't know if there's their break record or if their own little side project. But I remember Tornado of Urine. Yes.
I think everything is a side project.
Yeah, you see everything's a branch off.
What you're talking about.
A lot of little twigs off the branch, right?
It's all twigs. We never stuck with one thing. We always did something new and called it something else forever. And I know the Limbos did that too. Didn't they have like 1,000 bands and they never stuck?
The Limbos did it because when they lived in San Francisco at the Mission House and the Limbos were coming up, they couldn't play Limbos every 2 nights to make money to pay their rent. So they created other bands that weren't the Limbos, but it was the Limbos playing in those bands.
Same players, right?
And they would do
different
like
name.
Miles Davis band one night, and they would do some other blues band one night with Mirv ripping, just to like get paid a couple $100 to pay the rent for the Mission place.
Incredible.
Just the Limbos were taking off, but it wasn't paying them any money because
So they made 10 different bands. That's
so
amazing.
they made 10 different bands and played every night just to get food and beer and pay the rent.
That's incredible. So you said the Miles cover band, that was Borgnine, right?
Borgnine, yeah.
Oh,
so Borgnine is where they were doing a Miles Davis cover band. It's mostly 80s Miles, not 70s Miles, where we were doing more 70s. But that's kind of where those guys really learned how to play that stuff and really got into that vibe.
Yeah.
And, I was talking to Mirv. He hasn't played like that in years, but it's all in the memory banks from that band. That band was super ripping.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have one more term to throw at you because I have to.
Sure.
So Disc did something. I don't know if it was ever released, so it's kind of a mystery. The 50,000 Ways to Smash Paul Simon's Face or something like that. Does that sound familiar?
No, it does, but that one I wasn't involved in at all. I think that was pure Disc.
Okay.
It doesn't sound familiar. It just sounds like something Disc would do.
Yes. That's 100% Disc humor.
Someone's got to play the heavy, Steve.
It might as well
be Disc.
Yeah. That's our saying we've said for about 30 years.
Yeah, about Disc.
So once again, these were all things that were mysteries to me, and it's great that you at least recognize some of the terminology or the names because so much of this stuff, either didn't see the light of day or really didn't survive beyond
or it's better that it did not see the light of day.
I'm
Absolutely better.
Okay, because
Tornado of urine.
Tornadoes of urine.
I'd love to hear tornado of urine.
I actually would too. It's probably good.
Sounds like it
there
might
is-
be interesting.
Maybe I'll look in the vault and see what I can find of this old stuff. I got a whole garage full and some hard drives in there and some weird floppy disks worth of stuff.
Wow.
Get the MPC out. I probably have it. Oh, and I have a whole bunch of ADATs from the studio, which, I got to get them converted.
Oh, holy smokes.
Yes.
Would be very interested to hear what you have in there, but don't put yourself out on my account.
Okay. I
Frankie's
got to
forehead
get
is getting none of it, dude.
Let's wrap it up with Mars Mechanics again. So this latest release, really cool. Soya, have you heard it yet?
Thank you.
No,
Oh, you're missing out, man.
I don't
It is
listen
really
to music
cool.
anymore. You know that.
I sent it to you, I think. So didn't I? Or did I not? I sent it to you guys at the same time. But anyway, it's a thank you. It's called In Through the Drive-Through. I'm super into it. I'm glad you guys like it.
Yeah.
Love playing with those two dudes. There's going to be many more.
Awesome.
It
So
won't
right now
sound
you
anything
can,
like this one. It'll be totally different.
that's the best part. And right now you can find all of them, all the Mars Mechanics releases, that is, on YouTube, Spotify. The first two are still on Amazon Music, but I don't think the third is yet. Any plans for something like a Bandcamp?
I'm not sure. We just put it out via TuneCore, and they were supposed to distribute it to all their partners. I'll look into that. I know it's finally on iTunes. It took weeks to get there.
Okay.
And we are probably going to play a show this year. So
Oh,
we've
kill.
been
Van
talking
tour.
about it a long time.
West Coast Van Tour.
Let's go.
So this
you.
this latest one's great. I really hope that that you get a bump from this and that people hear it, because it is really, it's not the type of music that I would seek out, but I think it's enhanced just like knowing the guys that are playing it and knowing they're awesome.
Right.
That's going to open a door for me to listen to more of music in that style and really be able to appreciate it.
Perfect. I love that. Yeah, thank you very much. It was awesome.
You bet.
Good to talk to you, meet you. And Tim, always good to see you. The heavy's in the house.
I learned the heaviness from you, Steve Freeman. Come
We all
on,
learn
man.
from each other.
Word up. We channel heavy. Dude, I
We're,
love it.
Right. Channel heavy.
Where can the good people find you, Steve, if they want to give you a follow or anything like that?
Just Instagram, I'm a Free Hombre 1 is my handle there. And then we just put up a Mars Mechanics, Mars_Mechanics on Instagram. We're totally lame with socials, but we're getting there. We're starting to ramp it up.
Right on.
And Mirv and Brain aren't even on social media.
Right,
so,
yeah. It's it's a fascinating thing because you guys were all over the internet 25 years ago.
I know.
With all the stuff on the record websites and whatnot. But it's a different game now.
Yeah, it is a different game, and we feel old.
It's funny that Prawn Song were part of the innovation of what
Yeah.
websites before
Oh,
social
yeah.
media were. They were
Totally.
building websites in the beginnings.
Remember
And
the
now
web
all of
cache?
us that were all there with that whole vibe could give a fuck about any of it, but it's a way of life now.
It's a way of life. You got to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
Double-edged sword. I mean, it's
Trippy.
fine.
Yeah.
Trippy.
I mean,
That's the perfect word. It's trippy.
it
Right
was
on,
great.
man. Thanks for having me. This was a blast.
You bet, man. Thanks so much, Steve. It was a pleasure to talk to you.